Today on Deeper Living, we're going to tell you about our favorite fiction finds, so stay tuned.
From coast to coast across North America, this is Deeper Living, bringing the inspirational marketplace to your front door. We exist to bring you the latest and greatest from authors, artists, and artisans around the world. You're going to love this.
Hi and welcome to Deeper Living. I'm your host, Rebeca Seitz, and today we also have our host, Ginger Garret, with us because we wanted to share with you our favorite fiction finds. Now, Ginger, you've brought 3 of your fiction finds, and I've brought 2 of mine, and these are the ones that we take to the bubble bath with us.
That's right.
We
the
take
beach.
to bed and stay up all night with, and the beach.
Yeah.
Do you want to start talking about Demon first? Because I love this book.
Yes, I know. You love this book. All right.
I love this book.
Tell me about it.
It was written by the former Mrs. Nebraska. She's been Mrs. Nebraska twice.
Whoa.
And so you wouldn't, I know we're not supposed to give into the stereotype, I totally get that, but I would never expect a beauty queen to have written such an amazing, in-depth, thought-provoking, changed the way I look at my faith book. Because she's this beautiful woman who is just, when she opens her mouth, you just want to sit and write down everything that she says because she's just so intelligent. And the book is being compared to Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. And it's when a demon named Lucian takes human form, and he comes to a New York City editor. We know those, right?
Oh yeah, good luck.
And I know. And he comes to the editor who has written a novel that did not do well, and so he's looking for the next great idea. And the demon says, "I have the best story idea for you. It's going to be a bestseller. It's telling my story. I'm a demon, and you have to tell my story." And of course, the guy's like, no, deals with demons, probably not. Thanks for the offer.
Yeah.
So he goes on about his business. But it's just that seed of doubt in his mind, and it grows and grows and grows. And finally, he thinks, okay, yes, I need to do this. And so he starts looking around for the demon again. And each time the demon is taking a different form, but he's always wearing a watch. And his watch is always ticking because time is ticking down. And so Clay goes over to him, and he says, okay, I'll tell your story. And he says, what's the catch? And Lucian says, you just need to tell my story and you'll be successful. And so he so wants success that he says, okay. And so he starts taking down this demon's story. And for me, I had never considered how when demons were created, for lack of a better word, when they were thrown down from heaven, they committed a sin and then were not forgiven. And I had never really thought through the ramifications of what happens if you ever commit a sin and you couldn't be forgiven. I mean, can you imagine the hopelessness of that? And he conveys that to Clay. He's like, Clay says, why do you hate humans so much? And he says, because you commit sin after sin after sin after sin thoughtlessly. You don't even think about how you're hurting the creator of the world and the creator of you. And then you just go to him and say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And he does. And he says, I committed one sin in my entire existence. I took my eyes off God and I worshipped Lucifer for 1 second. I acknowledged his beauty. And I can never be forgiven for that. Now you tell me, wouldn't you hate you? And it just, it rocked my whole world. I thought, oh my gosh, to not have, can you imagine? I mean,
yeah, you're right. The hopelessness of it. But what will I feel when I read it? Will I feel hopelessness, or is it a scary read?
It's one of those reads that it's not a read it and feel, oh, everything's lovely in the world. It's not that. It's one of those, if you're a Christian and you read it, you'll be very, very grateful for your ability to get salvation, for that gift that's being offered to you, because though we're not, of course, supposed to take it for granted, I do. You know, you get involved in going to the grocery store and living your daily life and doing the laundry and dusting and all that stuff. And you just get to where I'm a Christian, and I've been a Christian for years, and you don't really acknowledge the gift of that anymore. And so by the end of this book, it had brought home to me again, I am a unique, loved being because I'm human, because God made me human. And that's a gift in and of itself, to be able to experience that. So
from a book about a demon, I wouldn't have expected that.
I know, and it's certainly not one, I would have picked it up and gone, book about a demon, thanks.
Yeah.
You know? But it's so amazing. And it's just, I recommend it to anybody who is just at that point where, you know, you're going to church every Sunday, and you're in your church routine and your salvation routine, and it's just kind of become a little glib for you, or taking it for granted a little bit. That'll take care of it.
Fantastic.
That's why you need to read Demon. It's an awesome book.
What was your stopwatch? How long did it take to read you? Was it an all-nighter?
I stayed up all night to finish it. I think I put it down at about 4 in the morning and turned the light out. And my husband was like, "You understand it's 4 o'clock in the morning." And I went, "You have to read it." And so the next day he picked it up and started reading it. He was up the next night.
Oh, no.
He was like, "Oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." It was so good. Because she just keeps have you read Dean Koontz books? His use of vocabulary is so good. She's like that. She has that vocabulary of just choosing that cool word that you don't hear every day, but fits perfectly. So it's that kind of story. Love that story.
Oh, okay. Really so good. I can't wait to get into this. So definitely thumbs up for a bubble bath book.
Yes, definitely a great
long
bubble bath book. You're going to want to take some chocolate after the bubble bath and then go to bed and stay up.
Now, who do I buy this book for if I want to buy it for someone?
It's good for, well, actually any age group is fine. Male or female is fine. I would think that a lot of the emergent church members, a lot of those who maybe have been burned by church or any of those who are taking church for granted, any of those types of people would probably really enjoy that book.
Perfect.
So, and I want to get to talking about one of your favorites because you've brought us 3. So if you will stay tuned, we'll be right back to talk about Ginger Garret's favorite fiction.
Welcome back to Deeper Living. We are showcasing some of our favorite fiction. And Rebecca, you just got done telling us about Demon. So I'm going to show you one of my favorite picks. It's from Siri Mitchell, Moon Over Tokyo. And Siri is one of my favorite
I
writers.
read her first one. They're good.
Yeah, she does historical fiction, and she also does sort of chick lit. And she just has such a gift for capturing women who are in awkward situations, which is me most every day of my life. Moon Over Tokyo is set in Japan, if you couldn't guess from the title.
She's been to Japan.
Yeah, she lived in Japan for a few years. She's a military wife, so she's lived all over the world, and she sets her books in the different countries that she's lived in. So this one is set in Japan, and there's an American reporter who's stationed in Japan, and her best friend leaves her, moves back to the States. So she's abandoned, and so she prays, she's, "Lord, send me a friend. Don't leave me in Japan by myself." And a guy shows up from high school, the one guy she cannot stand from her past. He makes her crazy. They're opposites in every way. And so Siri really poses the question in this novel, what if you ask God to answer your prayer and then you ignore the answer he sends? And that sets up the premise for this book. And it's really, she needs a friend and he's the only one available, and she really doesn't want to be friends with him.
Now, does she tell why he comes to Japan of all places?
You know, it is set up in the novel, and you kind of have to get into it a little more.
Oh, you don't
start
give it away.
picking through.
Don't give it away.
It's just a great chick lit read, and it's also, you know, it kind of pokes at your heart a little bit. You know, there are times that I've prayed for things And I haven't
like
really.
answer.
Yeah, I don't want that answer.
No, I'll choose choice B. Door 2, please.
That's right.
Yeah, I've done that.
That's right. So it's a light, it's a romantic read, and it's a great read about friendships and faith. And,
Now, is this a one-nighter read, or maybe going to take me a couple of nights?
Well, with series books, they're definitely bathtub reads because they're just fun, and it's not. I like to read them through, but if you have to stop, you can pick right back up. So, yeah, just fabulous bathtub book.
Yeah, her one before this, let's see, series, didn't she write Chateau of Echoes?
Chateau of
That
Echoes,
was hers too.
set in
now,
France.
That one is a good one too because she has, it's an inn owner.
Right.
In Chateau of Echoes.
She's renovated a castle, and she's also a gourmet cook. So it's not a good book to read when you're hungry.
Or dieting.
Yeah.
Except that she goes through her recipes in detail, this inn owner, in pairing foods together so the tastes work well together, which is a French thing, I understand.
Yeah.
Here in America, we're going through the McDonald's drive-thru
That's
every 5 seconds. We don't care what it tastes like, it's fast.
Right.
But I remember I read that book when it first came out a couple of years ago, and it was such a good book.
Yeah.
It was a quiet, slow down, enjoy the French countryside kind of book. It was that book. So is this one a slow or a fast pace?
No, it's more fast paced, which I think really reflects the nature of Tokyo. I mean, I've never been to Tokyo, but one of the things I like about series books is that because she's lived in the countries she writes about, you get a real taste of what it would be to live there, and just all the things like, you know, their air conditioner would blow hot air in the day and freezing cold air at night, and it was just, and the sliding doors that never really slid closed, and you know, those tiny little houses and how close everyone stands to you, and the smell of fish everywhere because they just eat different things. And I don't like to travel, but I like to read her books because I can at least think I've been somewhere.
Without going through the security line at the airport and all that fun stuff.
I
was just hearing about there's a new security measure in place now at the airports, and we're now opening all of the carry-on luggage. And if you have a video camera in there, I was just watching the news and seeing that, and I thought, oh my heavens, more security. So instead, we can just skip all that and pick up a supernatural novel. We'll have to thank Siri.
Yes, and you know, Tokyo is a long flight, and it's very expensive, so save your money and get this. And it's just one of those books that you think, oh, this should be a movie. It's just a perfect girl prays for a friend, gets this guy that she doesn't want, and of course, they're going to fall in love. I think that's a foregone conclusion.
Now, does she stay in contact with the friend who came back to America?
Sure. Yeah.
And so she's telling this other friend, great, your replacement's here. Not so great.
Yeah.
Get back over here.
That's right. That's right.
Do you know if Siri's still in Japan?
No, she is back in the States now. She's living in Washington, D.C. And yeah, so I'm sure we'll have a novel set in the capital.
D.C. Wow. That would
know.
be interesting to live all over.
I know.
What a great lifestyle for a novelist.
I know. I'm jealous.
That would be fun.
I'm jealous.
Well, no, I don't know. You can't buy a home and fix it up and plant a garden and know you're going to see it in 15 years. So that would be a downside.
That's true. That's true.
But
in my house, if I plant a garden, I won't see it next week. It'll be dead.
I know, it's going to be dead in about 2 weeks anyway. So
that's right.
They say you need to plant perennials, and those will keep coming back. And I think, for whom? Not me.
Yeah.
They're gone in about a month.
Oh, yeah.
I can get them to last about a month.
Well, that's why books are our thing.
I know.
You make one of these, and it has shelf life.
It will be there forever, unless your toddler gets it and rips it.
Yeah, or unless you drop it in the bubble bath.
In the bubble bath,
I do.
that would be bad.
Okay, so now we've talked about your Demon, a memoir from Tosca Lee.
It's a little more serious.
Yes, and now we've gone to a lighter sort of chick-lit romantic comedy from Siri. Who are we going to be talking about next?
I would love to talk about that Kimberly Stewart book because her first book, which came out last year, Balancing Act, it came out right when I was having my kiddo, and it was the main heroine is a new mom, and she's dealing with all the new mom stuff while still being a career woman. And so I loved that story because it hit me right where I was in my life at that time, and that's why I just pick up anything Kimberly writes now.
Oh, yeah, and she's so funny. I can't wait to introduce her.
Laugh out loud. Books. So stay with us here at Deeper Living. We'll be right back to talk about Kimberly Stewart's books.
I love you, I need you, you mean the world to me now, and I will live my life always to be with you. You saved me, forgave me, and set my heart aflame, and I will live my life always to be with you.
back to Deeper Living. We have been showcasing some of our personal favorite fiction finds. And Rebecca, you and I had a deal that we would each pick out a couple of our favorites, but there was one title that we both wanted to claim as one of our favorites. So I may have to arm wrestle you for this one.
I'll win, but okay. No, I'm kidding.
This one is Bottom Line from Kimberly Stewart, and this is the second novel that Kimberly Stewart has written. We both read her first one last year and
Balancing Act.
loved it.
Yes.
Okay,
love
so
that book.
set up Balancing Act for
Okay,
us.
well, my favorite scene from Balancing Act was such a very real scene. The main character was over at her old boyfriend's house. She was very concerned that her husband may have been interested in a very rich heiress at work, and so she wasn't stepping out on her husband. She was just kind of considering and thinking through, and is this where I'm meant to be in life? And so she's over at her ex-boyfriend's house, who's come back to town and is a photographer, and she has her baby with her. And of course, the photographer still sees her as that girl from high school, so she's not a mom complete with spit up and everything all over and all that fun stuff. And of course, we have a diaper incident with the baby. So right there, when she's feeling all feminine and pretty again, we have diaper everywhere.
Isn't that the way it goes?
Absolutely, absolutely. With my kid, that's what happens.
You know, if somebody had told me when I was a teenager that at this point in my life I would spend so much time sniffing people's bottoms.
I know. I know. It's the oddest thing when you do it in public and people look at you and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, but you know, another mom gets it.
Exactly.
That's what we do. We sniff
true.
bottoms and we wipe counters.
It's better than putting your fingers in there.
We wipe counters, we wipe noses, we wipe bottoms,
We
and we'll
catch
sniff
it when
anything.
it comes out.
That's right. It's not a pretty profession.
It's just not. But
No.
you know, it's fun when they go. My kid now says, when I say, "I love you, honey," he goes, "Thanks, Mommy." It's the best thing ever. And I think, I'll catch your spit up, kid, and change your diapers, because it's "Thanks, Mommy."
Yeah.
So
okay,
cute.
so that's what's so great about her novels is she
They're real.
captures all of this, but it's just so funny.
I know.
When she gives you some perspective and you see yourself through her eyes of what it's like to be
Well,
a mom.
and you think
just,
if that woman could do that and laugh, then okay, I can laugh when my
know.
kid pulls that.
Yeah, this is not a good book to be drinking your Diet Coke because you
No.
will snort it
You
through your
will.
nose
Yes,
at the
you
worst
will.
time. It's just, she's one of the few writers that has the gift of being laugh out loud funny.
Yes, she
Okay,
does.
so in Bottom Line, let me tell you where this character has gone now. She is staying home with her new baby. And an opportunity has presented itself for her to sell Christian lingerie. It's a multi-level marketing
What is
scheme.
that, like strategically placed something?
I think
Scripture?
it all
What is
has
that?
names like, you know, the Garden of Eden underpants type thing.
You know, I did see one time Scripture underwear, and
Oh,
it had
no.
Scripture around the waistband.
no.
Yes,
No,
I've seen it.
no.
It actually exists in real life.
I could not do that. Oh, see, there's just so many crazy things that we run
that's not
across,
in my
and that
wardrobe.
is what is in this book. So they need some extra money because her husband's business is really struggling. So to help kind of carry her weight a little bit more, she is going to sell Christian lingerie. And you know, with that kind of setup, it's just
gotta
going to be
funny. I can't imagine. What does your mommy do for a living? She sells Christian lingerie.
Yeah,
Go,
which
Mommy.
is so different than, say, anything else you would buy.
Not Christian fiction, not
No.
nonfiction, she's not doing that.
Underwear
Just underwear.
for Christians. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I know,
Never mind.
but you know what? I mean, really, every day I think we're confronted by people who want us to sell stuff and get involved in their multi-level marketing, and it's just, it really is part of our culture now.
It really is.
So
Well,
it's-
and kudos to her for finding a way to stay home and still bring in money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little more creative than I would be.
Yeah. I don't generally talk about my underwear in public, but
Not so
she
much,
does in
no.
this book. So
Well, and
it's
it
hysterical.
is a very real situation in our culture about a mom deciding whether or not to stay home with her child or go to work part-time. Those are such hard questions
They
to
are,
answer.
and they really get women's defenses up. And this
Very
is a great
quickly.
way to kind of broach the subject without raising anybody's hackles or making anybody feel like they have to give explanations. In fact, she was her book was reviewed by the Chicago Sun-Times, and the interviewer was struggling with that question about whether or not she was going to be staying home when she had her baby. And it was such a fabulous way to see Kimberly's book really interacting in a real life situation. So, just a
it did
great
for
book.
me. I was going through that when I was
Yeah.
reading Kimberly's book because I'm a stay-at-home, work-at-home mom,
Uh-huh.
and so it's just, It's so hard, especially when if you are a stay-at-home, work-at-home mom, then a lot of the other moms who've gone back to work, either they look at you with envy because they want to do that, or they assume that you're not a real professional because you're at home. And so either way, there are even more situations that arise once you've made a decision and made yourself comfortable with your decision. And I know that I've got a very good friend that she went back into the workplace. She had a great family network support system after she had her baby, and so she took the baby to her mom's and she went back to work, which was a great setup for her. And for her, she had to get comfortable with that decision and deal with other family members having a problem with her decision. So it's just like, I mean, the characters in Kimberly's book, it's not that they just make the decision and okay, I'm cool with that. It's everybody in their circle now has to opine on their decision to stay home or go back to work.
And isn't that the way it is as a woman? When you make a decision, and especially if one that, you know, maybe your mom didn't make in her previous generation, you do feel like you've got a lot of explaining to do.
Oh yeah, and it's a constant defense, constant. As soon as you think I finally laid that to rest and everybody's okay with my decision, then somebody else will pop up and say, don't you think you need to get back out there? You're going to just ruin your career. Or don't you think you need to be at home with little Johnny? I think you're really missing the good years. It's, either way, it's so hard.
And you know what? Well, I don't know about you, but what I think has been so critical to me has been having a great marriage, and that is what really comes out in this book. You do see that marriage getting strength again. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. We're having a fabulous time telling you about the fiction finds we've found. Stay tuned and you'll hear about a few more.
Every good and perfect gift comes down from heaven above. Every good and perfect gift from above. Every good and perfect gift comes down from heaven above. Every good and perfect gift from above. From the Father of lights, from the Father of lights, we prove there is no changing. From the Father of lights, who is always the same. Praise the Lord, oh, praise the Lord, oh, every good and perfect gift.
Let's all sing it together.
Comes down from heaven above. Every good and perfect gift from above.
Every good and perfect gift.
Every good and perfect gift comes down from heaven above. Every good and perfect gift from above.
From the Father of lights.
From the Father of lights, we prove there is no changing. From the Father of lights, who is always the same. Praise the Lord, oh, praise the Lord, oh, yeah.
Up we go.
Praise the Lord, oh, praise the Lord, oh, yeah. Every good and perfect gift comes down from heaven above. Every good and perfect gift from above.
Every good and perfect gift.
Every good and perfect gift.
Hi, welcome back to Deeper Living, and we have got one more fabulous fiction pick for you today. And Rebecca, you brought this one in.
I did.
This is one of my favorite authors, and it's a
I love
brand new
her.
book, and I haven't gotten a copy yet. I'm
Well,
so jealous.
The book is by Angela Hunt. The title is Doesn't She Look Natural? And if you've been reading fiction for a long time, faith-based fiction, then you probably know Angela Hunt.
Sure.
She's that author who is always, she brings us these stories about characters in walks of life that you're interested in, but you would have no way of finding. A zoologist, things like a botanist, things that interest you, and she goes off and does the research and then, you know, brings it to you in the story, and you have to do the research. That's kind of what happens in this book. At the very beginning, we have a lady who has been working on Capitol Hill. Her husband cheated. They've gotten a divorce. The main problem is that her husband also works on Capitol Hill.
Oh, no.
So when you combine the craziness of politics and that kind of deal-making and relationship building that has to go on with estranged spouses working in the Capitol building, problems arise. And so the lady just decides, I just don't think I'm going to stay here. This is not healthy. This is not good. So she leaves, and she's living with her mom and her two boys. So she's now a newly single mom. She's got two boys to raise. She's back home with her mother. Certainly no adult woman considers that happening in her life. And in the midst of all that craziness, which I'm not giving anything away, this is all at the very beginning, in the midst of all that craziness, she finds out that she has been given an inheritance by an uncle.
That's good news.
And she thinks, oh, okay, maybe this is the answer to prayer. You know, I've been asking God, what direction do you want me to take? And my life's crumbling, where do I go? And her uncle has left her an old Victorian home in Mount Dora, Florida.
Fabulous.
Now, Mount Dora, of course, is a real town. It's an antique town. It's a great little town. And Angela lives in Florida, so she's very familiar with Mount Dora. She doesn't live in Mount Dora, but she's very familiar with the town. And so she incorporates a lot of that fun Mount Dora flavor into the story. So they go down to see this lovely Victorian home, and it's the funeral home in Mount Dora.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Which is not quite the Victorian home that you thought.
That's every woman's dream,
I know,
is to
I know,
inherit
it's
a Victorian home.
I know. And then
it's a funeral home.
Well, and
are there dead people in there?
There are dead people. And not only is it a funeral home, it's a dilapidated funeral home. So now you've got to invest money fixing it up. So she does the same thing that you're doing to God. No, no, no. And again, I say no.
You almost got it right. The Victorian home, yes. The dead people in the basement, no.
So she has to come to terms not only with being around dead people and learning that really the funeral business is a business of respect and of paying last respects to those loved ones. It is not, it's not about anything but showing your last act of love to that human body, even though the soul has gone on to heaven. And so she learns that, her boys learn that. And then she also has to deal with, God answered your prayer, not quite in the way that you were requesting, but he did answer your prayer, and you have to figure out how it is that he's answering your prayer and adapt to his answer instead of asking him to adapt to yours, because it's so not going to happen. You don't even want it to happen. If he adapted to yours, it would be boring. So that's kind of what she learns in this book, and it is just, I was fascinated. I mean, there's a lady, of course, on the cover who is closing a coffin, and you think, I don't want a book about death, but it is so funny, and it is so good.
Well, you can tell from the cover that it's funny.
It's hilarious.
I'm just going to be stuck on that all day.
I know.
She got the Victorian, and it's a funeral
home. And it's like, there are really no other funeral homes in Mount Dora but hers, but because it's dilapidated, the town's been going out of town to an out-of-town funeral home. So it's also about bringing together a community again around a local business, which is always cool. So it's just an amazing story. I loved it.
Okay, so I have to ask, with all these fabulous books, because we're such readers, do you ever find yourself praying for the characters?
You know what? I find myself wondering where they are.
Yeah.
Thinking, wonder if she got the funeral home. Wonder if everything's okay in the business.
That's the power of great fiction.
We do that. It is. Thank you so much for joining us today on Deeper Living. Be sure to go out and find these books and let us know at DeeperLiving.com if you find some great fiction.